Everybody, welcome to Comics from the Future. I'm Andy.
I'm Matt.
We're here with Infinity Flux Comics out of Chattanooga, Tennessee, and this is our big show where we show you some of the biggest and best books that you can pre-order by this weekend. Your pre-orders are due Sunday by 9 o'clock, so head on over to infinityflux.net right now where you can place those pre-orders. That way you don't miss out on any of the comic goodness that we're about to talk about. And there is some really awesome books that are up for order right now. So to make sure you get them when they come out, why don't you just go ahead and do that pre-order? Yeah. Makes it easier for everybody.
Everybody wins.
Everybody wins. So let's get into this week's worth of books. We're going to start off with our Prime Comics.
And we're going to start with Godzilla vs. Fantastic Four. And this is the first of 6 one-and-done issues that have various heroes battling Godzilla and other monsters from the Monsterverse, but throughout different eras. So it's not going to be like the Justice League versus Godzilla versus Kong that tells one story across 6 issues. Each issue is self-contained. Each issue has a different hero. Each issue takes place in a different time period. Not really sure when this one may be, but so they're all, you can just, if you don't have to read all of them if you don't want to, just pick whichever one you want. You can read them in any order, I believe. But they all do sound really cool. So in this one, this is the first one. And this one, King Ghidorah descends upon the Earth with the power cosmic as the newest herald of Galactus. And that, yeah, you said on Wednesday. That sounds a little bit overpowered, a little bit unfair. Or is it because Godzilla and the Silver Surfer join forces to stop that overpowered King Ghidorah from world annihilation? And also the Fantastic Four are there too, and I don't know.
Caught in the middle.
They're just, I think that the Fantastic Four are just going to sit on the sidelines with popcorn and just watch all the chaos. So yeah, I don't know how the Fantastic Four are going to figure into this because the solicitation just says, can they stop King Ghidorah from destroying New York City and the rest of the planet? Probably not without the help of Godzilla and Silver Surfer. But yeah, so this sounds like a really fun, self-contained, one-and-done story. I know we got Spider-Man versus Godzilla. We have Hulk versus Godzilla. I don't remember the other ones. Those are coming later. But right now we have Fantastic Four, and it sounds like a ton of fun. And I do like that these are self-contained.
I do too. I like that they kind of also went a different direction than DC's.
Right.
Kind of a more original idea rather than a 6-issue storyline.
Especially since we are getting a sequel to Justice League Godzilla Kong. So this is a little bit different from all that.
But yeah, I think it's funny. It's like, oh, he chose King Ghidorah to be his herald. Why has he never chosen a giant monster before to be his herald?
True.
He always picks like human-sized people. It's like, oh yeah, just go big.
Yeah, go big or go home. Yeah. So this is our A cover right here. We have a Bradshaw variant.
These are all such great covers.
Yeah, for sure. We have a Heron variant. There is a Lee Garbett variant. I like that one.
Yeah.
I love the way Thing looks on that. Lionel Francis Yu wraparound, and this is the big like promotional image that they've been putting out there for a while. There's a Mark Bagley foil variant. Don't think Johnny Storm's going to be doing much there.
We've seen those 2 blasts. I think one is quite superior than the other.
There's a Peach Momoko cover, and there is a Scotty Young cover.
That one is so fun.
Yeah, that's great.
Next up, we have a new miniseries from DC. This is Secret Six. This is going to be 6 issues. That makes sense. This is written by Nicole Maines, and the art is by Steven Segovia. And of course, Nicole Maines portrayed Dreamer in the Supergirl show, and she's become, I think before this, it's always with a co-writer, but now she is writing this solo, which I think is awesome. We both got a chance to read this earlier today, and this is really cool. Yeah. So, this definitely is, I feel like one of the most connected to the previous Absolute Power event, kind of the most ramifications of that, and from the what was the series called?
Suicide Squad Dream Team.
Dream Team.
This really does kind of assume that you've read that, but if you haven't, don't worry, because I didn't read it either. I was just vaguely familiar with what happened in it, and they do kind of give you enough hints to remember. So
characters kind of fill you in on some of the events.
If you have read that, or if you do choose to read it before this, I think you'll get more of a complete story. I'm going to go back and read it. But it's not so much so that you will be completely lost if you ever read that. You can still read this.
Right. Yep. So Dreamer in this has a dream of betrayal and something that gives her the idea that Amanda Waller, who previously at the end of that kind of erased Amanda Waller or locked away all the secrets Amanda Waller knew during Absolute Power about all the heroes, locked those away inside of her, and then locked her away in prison. But now it seems the Dreamer thinks that Amanda Waller has been taken from the prison. So she is going to go to John Kent and Jay Nakamura to team up and basically be like, hey, we need to go to the jail and check out and see if this is true. Now, there's a lot of tension between Dreamer and Jay because of the events of that previous series. That's kind of where they do fill you in on some stuff. But if you want to know the nuances of it, you can go back and read that series.
And that series was only 4 issues too, so you can get through it real quick.
But it's not a spoiler to say that yes, Amanda Waller is gone. That's in the solicitation. But who took her and what are they planning to do, considering she has all of basically all the knowledge of all the characters in the DC universe at her disposal. Who's trying to get at that, and what will it mean if they do? It's really cool in this. A lot of the characters have new costumes. John even has this new black and red suit, and they talk about it, and it's really cool. But you also notice on here, Deadshot, Black Alice, and Catman are also involved. Some classic Secret Six characters. How did they factor into this? They might be the only ones who can help in this looking for Amanda Waller. We'll really have to read further to figure out why. They don't play a huge part in the first issue. It's more of a setup. But I'm really looking forward to what's going to happen going forward. I thought this was great. Steven Segovia's art in this is fantastic.
Yeah, it looks great. And they do explain John Kent's different suit.
Yeah. It's
kind of a throwaway thing, but...
Yeah, but he does explain why it is the way it is and everything. But, I mean, this does, once again, now feel like it has pretty big stakes. Like, if someone does get to Amanda Waller, that's going to be bad again. So, highly recommend this. I think it's really cool, and I'm looking forward to seeing where it goes after this first issue. So, we've got our A cover here. We have a Brad Walker variant. We have a Lyrics Lee.
Yeah, I like that one.
Yeah, that one's really cool. I love this one. This is the Ariel Olivetti foil variant. So I'm definitely getting this one because I love Catman. He's one of my favorite DC characters. And he's got a great new look too with that collar and everything.
With a big cape. He's got a big cape.
Yeah. And then we have a Fico Ocio DC All In foil variant as well.
Yeah. Next up is Nick Fury versus Fin Fang Foom #1. So this is a
30-part series, right?
Yeah. So Marvel is not letting you get away with just one hero versus giant monster. We've got two. So this is the next installment, and it's kind of the same thing as the Godzilla stuff, where it's a mini series, but each installment, each issue is its own self-contained story. Yeah. It's not telling one continuous story. The first one was, I already forgot what the first one was. Oh, Doom and Rocket.
Yeah, and the second one's Captain America and Volstagg.
That's right. And then now we have Nick Fury versus Fin Fang Foom. So this is going to be a self-contained, one-and-done story written by J. Michael Straczynski and the artist by Elena Casagrande and Juan Ferreira. But there's not much information about this in the solicitation. I don't know if we really need much information. No. It's Nick Fury versus Fin Fang Foom. But I do believe it's set in the World War II era because it does mention the Howling Commandos. And that looks like, old school Nick Fury, Dum Dum Dugan. And we haven't even seen Fin Fang Foom in years. So he's definitely more from that era. I don't know how they're going to fight each other. Seems like it's pretty one-sided. Just like the Fantastic Four fighting the Power Cosmic King Ghidorah. But here's another, the next installment of those weird team-up books.
I guess you called it anthology. But it's not an anthology book. It's an anthology series.
It's an anthology series, yeah. Don't miss out on this if you want to get the other one, or if you've been getting the other ones. This is our A cover, and then there is a Casagrande variant.
I also love that, if you just want to read one of these, or you don't want to read all of them, they are standalone stories. The Rocket and Doom one definitely was. We haven't read the Captain America Volstagg one yet, but I assume it's the same thing. So, I think these are just fun stories.
Yeah.
Next up, we have Teen Titans Go #1. So, Teen Titans Go is getting a new series. They had a series previously, years ago. But this one sounds really, really fun. It sounds very self-aware. So this is by Sholey Fish, and the art is by Dario Brizuela. And in this, the Teen Titans Go know that their book has been canceled. And so now they are teaming up, desperate for a relaunch, and they will do whatever it takes to be a successful book and not get canceled again. So they turn themselves into whatever they think will sell, from transforming robots to artsy black and white indie comics characters. It feels like you're going to be getting a lot of different art styles and everything in this. So it'll be really fun. But it says, but when DC doesn't even bite on those, they will take more drastic measures, and that might even mean sabotaging DC's other books. So I would love if you saw some like guest appearances by current ongoing
Yeah, that'd be
DC
great.
books,
Yeah.
but they're going there trying to mess with stuff. This sounds really fun, really meta, very like comic book centric comic. So I'm really excited to read this. We've got a cover here, and there is a sketch cover as well. That's just the title with a blank cover.
Nice. And next we have Who Are the Power Pals #1. This is a new series from Dark Horse. This is written by Dwayne Murray and the artist by Ahmed Rafat, or Rafat, sorry. And this sounds really fun. It's about two washed up actors. They're there on the cover. They're named Derek and Alex, and they used to play the superheroes known as Swallow and Buzzard on the 90s TV show called The Power Pals. But that show was canceled after just 3 episodes. And these guys have been trying to get back into Hollywood ever since. They've recently been fired from their jobs. I think is like rent-a-cops, like security guard type things, and their agent has dropped them basically. So they decide to put on their old costumes and walk the Hollywood Boulevard amongst all of the other people dressed up as heroes. And there's one time there's a something that happens with a group of tourists who I think they're getting I can't remember what's happening. They're getting mugged or something, and these guys step in and intervene, and that gets caught on video, and that video goes viral. And so they try to use their newfound fame to sort of spiral that into some sort of new career. And they say, hey, we should maybe do a little bit more of this crime fighting. But they eventually run afoul of a local crime boss, and they may not live long enough to enjoy their newfound fame. So, another fun sounding book. Kind of a little bit meta,
Yeah.
with the way that it's about people playing superheroes instead of just superheroes themselves. So it sounds like a lot of fun. We have our A cover, so that's Rafa, that's your interior artist, and then there is a Kent variant. Is that Matt Kent?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Next up, we have Juniba's Monkey Meat #1, the summer batch. So we had Monkey Meat. That's before I knew really who Juniba was.
Right. Yeah.
Back when there was the previous. I mean, it was quite a few years ago.
It was at least 2023, if not earlier than
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
But now, since then, Juniba has done the Boy Wonder miniseries at DC about Damien, which was really, really fun. Very cool art style. But this is also going to be a fine jumping on point. It's more about the idea of the book rather than like a through story. So it's an anthology style story, and it says, are you going on vacation? How about a hellish African fantasy island run by a corporation selling cans of monkey meat? Which is a little bit what the first series was about. This very weird concept, very disturbing, all of that. But it says there's going to be 2 tales plus games, and it's going to be double the trauma. So fun stuff there. Yeah. If you like a kind of outrageous comic, really weird, kind of gross but funny, I think you will enjoy this one. I know a lot of people really like the first series.
Oh yeah, I remember it being pretty popular. I like the cover. That reminds me of the movie Hannibal. Mm-hmm. Hannibal Lecter takes off Ray Liotta's head and like starts eating. Is it Ray Liotta? I don't remember, but he takes off this skull and starts eating his brain.
Yeah, or a little Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
With
right.
monkey brains.
Yeah.
But I believe, there is only one cover for this one.
Next is Hyde Street #4. And this sounds really cool. Well, there's not a whole lot of information, but I do believe this is going to be cool because if you read #3, we were introduced to a new character. Like you have Mr.
kind of came out of nowhere.
Yeah, so you have Mr. X-Ray and Pranky, and we met the other character that was in the Devour one shot too, right? Wasn't there a character in there?
Yeah.
So in #3 we met another character, and it's this guy here on the cover, and I don't remember if he had a name, I think, in the third issue, but I don't remember what it was. But I do believe that this issue is going to be all about him, and it sounds like it's going to show his past the way number 1 showed Mr. X-Ray and number 2 showed Pranky. So this says, witness the demise of a good man in a town without pity. It describes him as a caring man with aspirations, and he was known as one of Hollywood's finest actors, only to see his colleagues snicker at him when he's typecast as a famous film monster made of human patchwork parts. And that's kind of what it looks like on the cover here. And then it says, but as we'll see, life imitates art in Tinseltown down a boulevard called Hyde Street. So it sounds like we're getting our full introduction into this character that we only saw on the last couple pages in the 3rd issue, and he looked really cool too.
There's a great double page spread,
Yeah.
basically like falling from the sky.
Yeah.
It was really, really cool.
Yeah, so
it's called like The Monster or something.
Yeah,
like
I
that.
can't remember. But it was really cool to see him, and I was like, but what was interesting about that is he didn't collect a soul.
He had 0 souls on the scoreboard.
Right. Yeah. So, and it was almost like he was helping people, setting people on the right path.
Yeah.
Or at least that one guy anyway, the one guy playing Santa Claus. So maybe through this issue we'll learn why he does that.
Because he does seem maybe like a good person.
Yeah, maybe he's not concerned with collecting souls. I don't know. So I guess we'll have to read it. So that's why I'm really excited for this, to learn, because he does seem a little bit different than the other guys, right? He's not playing the same game, basically.
Yeah, he's not Pranky, for sure.
Right, for sure. All right, so this is our A cover. We have a Sneshberg and Brad Anderson cover, and there is a Joe Prado and Wes Zioba cover.
Yeah, I love this series, and it just keeps getting better.
I love this, yeah.
Next up, we have Star Wars Legacy of Vader number 2. So number 1 came out this week. I loved it. I'm so excited that Charles Soule is back writing a book very similar to his previous Darth Vader run, that really digs deep into a kind of a singular character. We saw in the first one that Kylo is going to be going on a journey to kind of discover who his grandfather was, Darth Vader, and what gave Darth Vader such the power and the presence he had, because Kylo wants that for himself. And he kind of learned in the last one that he needs to kind of follow in the footsteps of Anakin. So he's going to go to Tatooine in this issue, back to Mos Espa, which is the hometown of Anakin, where Anakin was a slave with his mother. And he is going to run up against Gardula the Hutt, which was the slave owner of Anakin and his mother. So it's like, I would not be surprised if Kylo ends up killing this Hutt, because, it's kind of a full circle thing. But also, he's going to run into Gardula the Hutt's guards, and she also has a pet Rancor that Kylo's going to go up against. So it also says, what secrets does Mos Espa hold? The hometown of Darth Vader. I think he's going to be learning a little bit more each issue, and super cool. Also, just want to note, the 1 in 25 cover of this looks a lot like a panel I drew with Kylo fighting a thing that was very similar to a Rancor. I was like, oh, that's cool. I also did a shot very similar to that.
Pay up, Marvel.
I think it's like maybe a Phil Noto cover or something,
Yeah.
but it's really cool. But any character I've worked on and drawn, I now feel like a bigger attachment to.
Right.
And so I love this this Kylo series. So we've got our A cover right here. I believe it's Alan Qua.
I love that cover too. Like,
It's so cool.
Kylo Ren looks awesome right there.
We also have a Betsy Cola Women's History Month variant with Ray, as I mentioned before, my wife.
Yep.
Great to see her on the cover. And then this is the is this David Nakayama?
Derek Chew.
Derek Chew.
Yeah.
Yes. It does not say on the sheet. Next up, we have Big Event. So these aren't necessarily like main tie-ins to the One World Under Doom or anything like that, but these are things that fall under some of the headers that are currently going on, especially with these with Marvel. So we'll get into them.
So we have Fantastic Four number 30, and again, this is not going to directly tie into that, but from what it sounds like here, what you're going to see in this is a result of what's going on with all the One World Under Doom stuff. So it does say that after Ben Grimm suffers a terrible defeat at the hands of Doom, and you can see on the cover, I'm pretty sure that happens to him.
Oh, wow.
Maybe it happens in One World Under Doom number 1. That comes out next week. We will be talking about it Monday, so we can let you know.
I mean, he is magic now. Like, he could easily
That's what I'm
do that
thinking.
to Ben.
And because I think I've seen, maybe it was one of the other variants or something, but I've seen another picture of him laying it, like being in a puddle of rocks or something. So I feel like, and I'm just guessing here, but I feel like at some point Doctor Doom makes him human again.
Yeah.
I'm not real sure, but it does say that he'd suffer and this is after he suffers a terrible defeat at the hands of Doom. So I don't, it doesn't happen in here, I don't think.
Mhm.
This is post all that. Ben is left adrift and more vulnerable than he has been in years. And then he and Alicia go on a trip to New York City, and things go from bad to worse. And Ben takes a shortcut that he won't be able to undo.
Mm.
I have no idea what that
He
means.
glues rocks on himself.
That'd be
Get back
great.
to it.
He like duct tapes rocks all over him. He's like, I can't get it off because it would pull the hair off my arm. I can't go back. But it does say it's a Thing and Alicia story that you won't forget. So yeah, this does, and it says Fantastic 3 because Ben is no longer, I guess
A
he's no longer
viable member.
yeah. So um lots of uncertainty. I do think we'll know more next week when the first issue of the actual One World Under Doom issue comes out. And then, like I said, the what we're going to see here is just a result of everything that's going
It's
on.
kind of a reflection of the
Yeah.
world now that Doom is in that position.
Yeah, super excited. So that's our A cover right here. We have the King Gliosi What If variant. That's a homaging. That was the logo during Mark Waid's run. Yeah.
Mark Waid's, yeah.
There's a Daikruan foil variant, which looks really cool. There's a Gleb Melnikov spoiler variant. I have no idea what's on that. There's an Inhyuk Lee variant and a Peach Momoko variant.
This makes me also think something big's going to happen because usually they don't do that many variants just for a regular issue.
That's right. There are a lot of these for a number 30. Yeah.
Also, based on this one, it looks like something's happening to Ben pretty serious.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you can see the rocks falling off. So yeah, I'm excited for this. And Marvel events are hit and miss, lots of tie-ins and stuff, but I'm still very interested. I love Doctor Doom.
Yeah.
I'm very interested to read this One World Under Doom next week that comes out, just to see what it's like. And we'll have a much better idea after that. But I'm on board for this. I can't wait to see it.
Next up, we have Iron Man number 6, and I think this is really interesting reading about it because this does feel like it ties in with One World Under Doom quite a bit, and some interesting things that I feel like add a new layer to what we know about this story. So this is a prologue to a new Iron Man story, so it's a great jumping on point. The story is called Stark Insurgent, and in this, it says Doctor Doom is emperor of the entire planet, and everyone is happy about it.
Sure. Wait, no, that doesn't sound right.
Even the Avengers can't find any problem in his plan. It seems there's no flaws in it. There's no schemes in it. It seems like Doom actually has the world's best interest. But Iron Man, Tony Stark, doesn't buy it, and he's going to take the fight to Doom's doorstep.
Well, I remember the solicitation for One World Under Doom #1 says that Doom does something to make everybody around the world think that, hey, this is a good thing.
Yeah.
But that whatever it is that he does doesn't affect the heroes until maybe it does. And it does say, what happens when some of the heroes actually start thinking that this isn't such a bad thing. So it sounds like this is related to all that.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see, like, even for the reader, does he do stuff that you go, like, that's not a bad idea type thing? I love Doom in that way because there are times where it's like, he's not wrong about certain things. He may go about it the wrong way, but he isn't necessarily 100% evil.
Right.
So
I do find those stories pretty interesting because, I like when bad guys are just bad and you can root against them, but at the same time, it's like, well, he's got a point.
Yeah.
He's not hurting anybody.
Doom, like Doom and Magneto are the two that do terrible things, but kind of in the name of something okay.
Yeah.
So it'd be really interesting to see here. We've got a few covers. We got our A cover. We have this Elizabeth Torque Invisible Woman variant, which is really fun.
And there's going to be, I don't know how many we have in this show, but they showed several of these Invisible Woman variants online a day or two ago. And there's going to be a bunch of covers throughout the next few weeks with Invisible Woman doing various things.
Yeah. This is the year of Fantastic Four.
Oh, for sure. And I'm here for it.
And then we also have
a big old sword.
Ian Bertram variant.
All right, so this is X-Men number 13. So this is not under the One World Under Doom banner, but this is part 4 of the X-Manhunt storyline. And shame on us, we completely skipped over whichever issue of Storm it is that's part 3. Because we talked about parts 1 and 2.
Yeah.
And then now we're going to talk about 4 and 5 in a
I
second.
didn't even know Storm was part of.
I didn't either. I was like, wait, where's part 3 at? It's whatever issue of Storm that comes out around this time frame, which is early March. I want to say it's like maybe number 5, Storm 5 or something like that. So we completely missed that one. But this is part 4. And the X-Men have caught up with Professor X, who has escaped from Grey Malkin prison. When last we saw him in the pages of X-Men a couple issues ago, he got out. The X-Men helped get him out, but he's like, no, actually, I need to stay and make up for my sins or whatever it was. But now something has spurred him on to make him want to escape. So the X-Men catch up with him in this, but they are not the only ones who have found him. So it sounds like maybe the X-Men are going to kind of be on his side, but maybe some other groups aren't. I think that's maybe one part of the crux of this whole thing. So this is our A cover. We have an Edgeker variant with Storm. There's a Peach Momoko variant and a Phil Noto connecting variant, and we saw a couple other of these on the issue of Uncanny X-Men at NYX, and there's probably a Storm one too. And then we have X Factor number 8, which is part 5. And again, the X-Men have caught up with Professor X. That happens in the previous part. Wait a minute. No, I'm sorry. I was getting my notes mixed up. Yeah, the X-Men are with him, but X Factory is also tracking down the newly escaped Professor X. But how would the X-Men react to that? Because again, they're with him, at least physically, maybe not in spirit, but they're with him. And guys, are you ready for a brand new story idea that Marvel has never done before? What will happen when Cyclops and Havoc collide? Because I hope you guys are sitting down, but I think that in this storyline, the X-Men are going to fight each other.
Whoa.
That is that's a bold new era for X-Men books, right? Is X-Men fighting each other? But
now, is it still the thing that siblings' powers don't work against each other?
I'm not sure.
Because I mean, Cyclops is shooting Havoc there, but I know for a while it was the thing that they their powers would cancel each other out and they couldn't.
They just didn't work on each. Yeah. They would blast each other, but nothing would happen.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that's still the case. Who knows what happened with Krakoa? But yeah. Oh, so sorry. This is our A cover, and then we have another Phil Noto connecting variant.
I wonder how these are connecting though, because they all look like they're at the end of the line.
True.
So I think they're all similar.
Yeah, maybe they because if you have so many people lined up, you don't want to have to look over to see. Oh, wait, 6 feet is what. So they have the measurements every couple people. Yeah,
every 2 people.
Yeah.
Well, next up we have more Essential Comics because there's even more coming out. Starting with a new book from Mad Cave that sounds really cool. This is Blade Forger. This is by Anika Miranda and Roy Miranda with art by Anika. Inaki. I always say Anika. I think it's Inaki Miranda. But
not sure.
Anyways, I think they worked on that We Live series.
Oh, right. Okay.
That was really good. So this is a very kind of big concept fantasy story. In this world, there's a discovery of a new energy source that has led to a war for its control. But after years of battle, the leaders of the land have come together to negotiate kind of a peace treaty and a ceasefire. And this treaty was called the Blade Forgers Treaty. And it essentially says that the control of this new element they found is going to fall under one neutral emperor. And he's going to be over the mining of it and everything. And to figure out who this emperor is going to be, it has to be a blade forger who is a mystical swordsman and claim the title in a tournament that happens every 5 years. And they come together and they fight to see who's going to be this new emperor. And now a young blade forger rises up in the name of the Forsaken. So I guess he's kind of an underdog to fight for this mantle. So it's kind of a big concept fantasy world, but it sounds really cool. Yeah. And Mad Cave's been doing some great stuff. Mm-hmm. So if you are interested, here is your A cover, and there's a Kale New variant as well, great. Which is really cool.
Yeah. Next up is Justice League: The Atom Project number 3, and in this one, Captain Atom is forced to take a desperate step into his past to get assistance with whatever it is that he's trying to do. I think we saw a little bit of that in this issue that came out this week. He reached out to somebody who knew him, one of the doctors or scientists, I guess, that actually originally worked on him that gave him his powers. And he's wanting her assistance. I just don't know what his motivation is yet.
Yeah.
Like, what is his end goal? I'm not sure. He's doing that. Ray and Ryan's latest experiment puts them at odds with each other, and it could lead to disastrous consequences for everyone on the Watchtower. And there is dissent in the ranks of the Atom Project, and that has to be quelled before catastrophe overtakes the planet. And there was mention too that Inferno, the terrorist group Inferno that we've seen in Justice League Unlimited, they've been keeping their eyes on this whole Atom Project thing. I don't know why. I don't know what their plan is for it, but they're kind of looming in the background of all this as well. Throughout the first couple of issues, there have been these two voices kind of narrating everything, and we don't know who it is that's talking. So maybe it's a couple members of Inferno. I'm not sure, but the solicitations for issues 3 and 4 do mention Inferno kind of being in the wings of this too. So don't miss it if you got the first two. This is our A cover. There's a Dave Wilkins variant, and there is a Kevin Wada variant, and I don't know when Captain Adam's going to get that new costume.
Still holding out.
Yeah.
Next up, we have all new Venom issue number 4. We're going to be really closely tracking this, probably till issue 5 or
Right.
we
I
learn.
think it is 5 that we learn who it is.
So issue 3 comes out this next week. We'll be covering it on Monday. But of course, each issue eliminates one of the potential bearers of the symbiote.
Yeah.
But in this one, MODOK Madness, as MODOK gets inside Venom's head, and it says you won't believe how. Maybe just right through the ear. But also, we find out what happened to Flash Thompson, who is now Agent Anti-Venom.
Yeah.
So I don't think he's really shown up since the Venom
War? Yeah, he was in that.
So this will be really interesting. I'm excited to continue to find out maybe who is a contender for this. The solicitation also did mention Madame Mask, which I don't know if that means she's eliminated in issue 3 or how she factors into this. But yeah, we know possibly one person it's not. But
one person was eliminated in number 2.
2, yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, well, I was gonna say we'll let you know if somebody gets eliminated in number 3 next week. I'm sure they will, but we're not gonna tell you who it is.
We're not gonna tell you who it is, but we'll start making our bets.
Yeah.
So we've got an A cover. We also have a Gabriel Del Otto variant, a Giuseppe Camuncoli variant. It only took me a while to realize these are spelling Venom. I did not realize these covers are.
Oh, really? I didn't realize that. It is the V-E-N-O. That's only 5, yeah.
Yep.
Oh, interesting.
And then we also have this Peach Momoko kimono variant. Next up, continuing stories. These are stories that have already started, but are going to continue.
We have EC's Cruel Kingdom number 3, and this is going to be a 4-issue miniseries, so this is the next to last issue. Don't really know anything about these stories contained inside them, but I believe it's going to be either 2 or 3 stories, I'm not sure, from writers like Corinne Bechko, who wrote Green Lantern Earth 1, and also Christopher Cantwell, and then Kano is going to be the artist on at least one of them, but not sure what those stories are going to be about. But
fun surprise.
And if it's anything like the other 2 issues, again, they're going to have a fantasy flavor, but they're probably going to have a kind of a macabre ending. They all seem to have that sort of thing. It's been a fun book though, for sure. This is our A cover, and there's a Carrie Nord variant.
Very interesting. I love Carrie Nord in his time as the artist on Conan.
You're right.
Next up, we have Power Man Timeless, issue number 2 of this 5-issue miniseries. We read issue number 1 this week. Very interesting, a very cosmic level story.
High concept,
some weird locations and characters following this futuristic version of Power Man. But we also got introduced to Aeon the Knife, who seemingly can cut through anything and is just really angry, and we don't really know why yet. But in this issue, we're going to learn what has brought this terrible warrior to the Milky Way galaxy, and what maybe his end goal is, because it's still pretty much a mystery from that first one. And can Power Man fight him without letting loose the Void, which we know that part of this Power Man has the power of Sentry, and with that power also comes the Void, which is kind of the equal, dark, shadowy version of that that can get released. So yeah, sounds really cool. I like the first issue, but a lot of questions. So hopefully this will start answering them. We've got our A cover here, and we have a Chris Allen variant, which gives you a little hint to something that happened in the first issue.
Which was really cool.
Very cool.
Next is Daredevil Unleash Hell number 3. We have not got number 2 yet. Maybe that comes out next week. I'm not sure. But we did learn in the first one that Muse is back, the villain, one of the villains from Charles Soule's run of Daredevil, and who is also going to be in the Daredevil Born Again TV show coming in March. But yeah, so Muse has returned, but how is that possible? I guess we kind of saw how that was possible in the first issue, but it was still there's still a little bit of mystery around it. But Muse seems to have developed a new fascination with Daredevil, but this one, the Elektra version of Daredevil, and that's it. So we don't really know, a whole lot about what the story is going to be. And the first issue was a little bit confusing too. We just needed the first issue is kind of a setup. Okay, Muse is back. He's getting people to do some killings for him. Elektra's out there. I think number 2 is what's going to like solidify the story, and then number 3 is here. So we have our A cover. We have and these are red band too. So there is no non-red band version. So they're all red band. The first issue wasn't really that. I mean, we've seen other things from Marvel that, and they're all polybag too, just like all the other red bands. This is the Peach Momoko variant, and there is a. This doesn't have the artist on that, but it looks really nice.
It looks really nice.
So artist who drew this, if you're watching, we really liked it.
And they need to keep better notes about who does the cover. Next up, we got a cover gallery. Just some really cool covers we want to make sure you don't miss. Starting with Batgirl, issue number 5. This is the Kevin Wada cover.
We have Birds of Prey, number 19. This is the Dan Panosian connecting variant. And this is your A cover. So that's pretty cool for an A cover. There's a Ryan Gonzalez cover. And there is a Jenny Frison International Women's Day cover with Black Canary.
I love this one. Next up, we have Poison Ivy at number 31. This is the Kyung Eum cover, which in the last issue of Poison Ivy, the flip cover was awesome. So yeah, might be back on the Poison Ivy train. So we got that cover, and we have a Jenny Frison cover.
We have Amazing Spider-Man number 69. This is another one of those Invisible Woman variants. This one is done by Amanda Connor. I love this.
Yeah.
There is a NetEase Marvel Rivals variant. And then, of course, your Scotty Young cover. I've been getting all of these. They're so much fun. Yeah. But I might have to double dip and get this, because I can't not get Scotty Young if I gotten all the other ones. But that Invisible Woman cover was cool, too.
Yeah. Next up, we have Deadpool number 12. This is the Todd Knock Invisible Woman variant, which is really fun.
I want to say maybe there was like 8 of them. Yeah. So we'll see more probably next week and the week after, but they're really cool.
Next up, we got a bookshelf. These are big old books that you can put on your shelf and read if you find the time.
The first one is Batman. Okay, so this is the volume 5 of the current run of Batman. So this collects Batman number 153 through 157 that just came out this week. And it also collects the lead story from Batman number 150. So this is the final run of Chip Zdarsky on this title. It's his final story arc called The Dying City. So this is the the hardcover. So something that's a bit unique that DC is doing on this one is they're releasing the hardcover and the softcover at the same time.
Yeah,
which they typically don't do. And they're the same cover, right?
They're the same cover. Yeah, and so this one is $29.99.
Yeah, so the hardcover is $29.99. The softcover is $19.99. But I believe they're the same cover, and they come out at the same time.
Yeah.
So you can
usually
pick whichever.
DC either does like a hardcover first and and softcover later or whatever, but I don't know if this is going to be a new thing. You just pick which one you would prefer to collect.
That would be great. Usually the soft covers come out way later. And I remember we were on a retailer call with some folks from DC once, and there was a bunch of other retailers on there. Then in the Q&A portion, there were so many comments that said, please do soft covers first. Please do soft covers first. So maybe this is a response to that. I'm not sure. But yeah, they've never, even Marvel doesn't do them at the same time. So I don't know, but I'm all for it. That way you get to just pick whichever one you want,
for sure.
And you don't have to wait an extra long time for it.
Well, next up we have Nightwing, the Prince of Gotham Omnibus. This is the 2025 edition, and this collects the entire New 52 Kyle Higgins run of that. So this collects 0 through 30, plus the annual Batman 17, plus the Dick Grayson story from Secret Origins, and the Dick Grayson story from Young Romance New 52 special. So this was a really interesting story. This is where he got the red
Yep.
on the logo and stuff. This kind of weaved in and out of like Court of Owls and um, some of the big Batman stories.
Yeah.
I remember this. He goes kind of back to the circus for a while.
I was gonna say, I remember the first story arc had to do with his kind of his origin, kind of his upbringing, the circus, growing up in Haley Circus, that kind of thing.
Yeah, so this is a really interesting story, and if you've never read it, this is a great way to get all of it.
It was one of the better New 52 books, I
Yeah, it
remember.
was.
Not the best of all of them, but one of the better ones.
And this is only $99.99.
This is really cool. So this is the Wednesday Comics hardcover. This is a reprint of the hardcover that they released several years ago that I have thanks to you. Do you gave me yours? Do you want yours back and I'll buy this?
No, I've read the entire thing multiple times.
It's really cool. So I wish I should have brought it and do like a little show and tell because this thing is tall.
It's the size of a newspaper.
It's the size of a newspaper, right? Because this so it's going to be $75. There's 15 stories in it. And it's from writers like Brian Azzarello, Dave Gibbons, Jimmy Palmiotti, and others. Artists like Eduardo Rizzo, Ryan Sook, Michael Allred, Amanda Connor, Joe Kubert, and others. And this is so those creators do just these like a little bit simpler stories of all these different characters like Flash, Superman, Green Lantern, Deadman, and they're trying to recreate the weekly comic section of a weekly newspaper. And yeah, it's really tall. It's not super thick because there's not all that many stories in here. There's like like I said, 15 stories. I don't remember if is each just one page or maybe front and back or because it's thicker than just 15 sheets of paper.
Yeah, no, they lasted. So the way this was originally released was in newspaper form. They came out to comic book stores, which I wish they still did. It'd be so awesome to get a either weekly or at least once a month a newspaper style comic. And they each ran through however many issues this ran through.
Okay.
They varying, issue or two shorter or longer than another one. But yeah, this was a really cool way of you got it. It was folded up like a newspaper, and you would like open it up and read it all big with all this really cool art printed on newsprint. So this is their way of collecting those.
Yeah, and so it's such a cool book, and this is just like that came out. I mean, it must have been 15 years ago or something like that the hardcover came out.
Probably, this came out in 2010.
That's what I was thinking.
Maybe something like that.
I mean, it's been a long time.
Before the New 52, I
say. I think it was.
Which would have been 2011.
Yeah, I think it was. And now they're reprinting it. So grab this if you like this kind of stuff. Like I said, it's really big. I mean, you don't just you flip, you open it up with your arms, not just flip with your hand. It's so cool. It looks beautiful. The artwork, the stories are fun. Everything is so cool. I like the Green Lantern story.
Yeah.
I think Dave Gibbons was the one who wrote that one. I can't quite remember. The Deadman was really cool too. So no other covers or anything, just this, but it's really awesome.
And next up, I'm really excited about this. I have a collection of this, but this is a newer, bigger one. This is Superman Final Crisis Legion of Three Worlds, the Deluxe Edition hardcover. This is, if someone says, I want to read Legion of Superheroes, that is one of the most daunting teams and characters.
A lot of history, a lot of characters.
Yeah, a lot to keep up with. And it kind of conflicts with itself a lot of the times. So this was written by Jeff Johns. It came out around the same time as Final Crisis, but it didn't have a whole lot to do with the main story of Final Crisis. But in this, Jeff Johns managed to kind of streamline the Legion of Superheroes and make them make sense, all their different iterations and their time frames. There's there's the big long run of Legion of Superheroes from the 80s of Mark Waid, but then there's the original one when Superboy became a member. How are those related? All that. This streamlines all of that in a really cool way. This also has to do with the return of Barry Allen, who was dead for a long time. Hints at the coming back of him in this. You've got art by George Perez and Scott Koblish in this, which is really cool. And this one has issues 1 through 5 of this miniseries, plus an intro by Jeff Johns and commentary by Jeff Johns and Scott Koblish, which I think is just really cool because you had sometimes like 100 characters on the page when George Perez was drawing this. This is just fantastic. I highly recommend it. I didn't understand the Legion before this, and after this, I really appreciated them.
Sounds like I need to read this then because I don't understand the Legion. There's too many characters.
Yes, so yeah, highly recommended. And this is going to be $39.99. Yeah.
Sorry, this is Creepshow Volume 3. This is just it's going to be $14.99 and collects Creepshow Volume 3, number 1 through 5. That's the series that's coming out right now, or maybe it's overall. I don't remember how many issues. But yeah,
they kind of do them in batches.
Yeah, each issue has 2 different really creepy stories. It's very deserving of the name. So you're going to get 10 creepy stories in this, and they're all really cool. And a lot of them, you're going to be like, I can't believe they did that in a comic book. That's crazy.
I've already pre-ordered this.
Yeah, I love Creepshow.
I kind of I think I read the entire volumes in one sitting.
Oh yeah, they're quick reads.
Yeah, so much fun. Next up, we have Deadpool Team-Up. This is crazy because this collects issues 1 through 5, and I think issue 4 comes out this coming week, or is it issue 5?
I thought it was 5 that comes out next week.
It's the one that has Spider-Gwen on it. But they are not wasting any time getting this out. So it has issues 1 through 5. This is Rob Liefeld's swan song to Deadpool. This is the final one he'll be working on. And yeah, I think he's not coming back to it. If
especially if you've been following him on social media for the last couple of days, so yeah.
But I'm really interested to see how this wraps up. I love that it used such a weird collage of characters. Chris Starr,
come on,
I love. So yeah, I enjoyed this series. It is nuts. It's weird. It involves dragons, and yeah, you can get it all here for $17.99.
Next up is the Ultimate X-Men Epic Collection, Volume 1, called The Tomorrow People. So this is going to be $39.99 and collects the original Ultimate X-Men series from 2001, issues number 1 through 12, and issue 1/2. They have released 1 or 2 omnibuses of this already, and now they're doing giving it the Epic Collection format. I read this back in the day, and the original Ultimate Universe version of the X-Men was really cool. It got a little bit weird after a while, but the beginning I always thought was really neat. You had Cyclops and Wolverine wasn't part of the team at first. That happened later, but there was Iceman, Colossus, Jean Grey, Cyclops,
all like cool black bandanas,
Beast,
and leather jackets.
They did well. They didn't though, but they were like spandex, like costumes, but they were all black. So it wasn't quite like Grant Morrison's new X-Men, but I thought it was really cool. Andy Kubert did a lot of the artwork. It looked really good. So yeah, this is a great X-Men book to read. And first 12 issues.
Next up, we have Wolverine, Enemy of the State, which is funny. I've never read this. This is originally from 2003 by Mark Millar and Kari Andrews. And in this, Wolverine gets brainwashed and starts going after the Marvel Universe.
I haven't read that either.
And I think it's maybe like an Elseworld type tale or something, because it says like he basically kills the Fantastic Four and goes after S.H.I.E.L.D. and all of this.
And that's what leads into Old Man Logan, because he killed all the heroes.
That's what it feels like. And it's about S.H.I.E.L.D. trying to hunt him down and deprogram him.
That sounds cool.
Before it's too late. So, yeah, I think it sounds really cool. It collects the 2003 Wolverine series 20 through 32. So it's a 12-issue story.
Yeah, Mark Millar, his Old Man Logan story was also just 6 random issues of whatever series that was. And it was in the later part of that series, too. Yeah. So, yeah, maybe they're just plucking storylines out and putting them collected.
And that is going to be $39.99.
And next is the Wolverine Goes to Hell Omnibus. And this is going to be $125, and it collects Astonishing Spider-Man and Wolverine number 1 through 6. I remember reading that back in the day, and that was a really cool series. And then the first 20 issues, or maybe there was only 20, I'm not sure, of the 2010 Wolverine series. But it also has X-Men Schism 1 through 5. That series.
That was the lead into Avengers versus X-Men.
Yeah, so it had from that time.
It was really good.
Yeah. So it's got a lot of that stuff in it. I've read some of that era of Wolverine stuff, but not a lot of it. So I'm interested in this one for sure. And there's more stuff other than what I listed off too. So this is the Arthur Adams direct market variant, which is only available at comic book stores like ours. And then there's the Jay Lee cover, which is the standard edition cover, which you can find at bookstores everywhere.
All the bookstores that sell omnibuses, which I
Right.
think they do a little sparingly.
Yeah.
Also, we have some new printings, starting off with Batman issue number 612. They're continuing the reprinting of Hush, which we still haven't talked about
Hush 2.
Hush 2
Not yet.
yet. So, looks like you're going to be getting a lot of Hush 1 reprinted before Hush 2 starts. And like all of them, there's the regular edition, and there is a foil edition and a sketch cover edition of this as well.
And then next we have some new printings for G.I. Joe number 1 and 2. So we have, and this is the Energon Universe G.I. Joe. So this is the third printing of number 1 by Kendrick Kunka. There is a Doug Monkey. These are all third printings of G.I. Joe number 1. Doug Monkey, Clean Duke, and then the Battle Damage Duke, which looks really cool. And then there's the Andrea Milana and Andres Juarez Cobra Commander Mask variant.
That's what when he's like taken captive and they do that to his helmet before he wrecks the dreadnoughts.
Right. So those were all third printings of number 1. And then there's 2 second printings of number 2. There's a Jason Howard. Well, these are all like the other ones. So Jason Howard did these with CoverGirl and Destro. So those are your second printing for number 2.
They just announced a bunch more reprintings as well with a bunch of different artists.
Yeah,
I think earlier today, like Skybound did that, and there's some really awesome. I love that. Like, even if you have these books, they give you reasons that you're like, I kind of want that one too. I've already pre-ordered the Battle Damage Duke.
Yeah, that looks so cool.
Cover. That's just super cool.
Still, the greatest regret of my life that I haven't been collecting all of these covers because they're uniform across G.I. Joe, Transformers, and Void Rivals, and they look like this. Jason Howard's done all of them. Lining all those up together would be so cool, and I don't have
wall that was just like all the characters,
and I don't have any of them.
And that is it for Comics from the Future. Thank you so much for watching. Go ahead and head on over to infinityflux.net right now where you can place your pre-orders. Like I said before, your pre-orders are due Sunday by 9 o'clock, so you don't miss out on any of these comics. They will be ready. That way you can guarantee that when they come out, that you will have one set aside for you. Or if you don't live near the store, they are mailed to you. But that way, you don't have to worry. There's no risk of selling out. You will be set, and we will do everything in our power to make sure that you get the book. And
if you don't live near the store, move.
What are you doing?
Yeah, get closer because you need to shop here. That's awesome.
Yeah, for sure. So, anyways, thank you again for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, leave us a comment that lets you know what you're most excited about from all of these books that you can't wait to read, because I know there's a lot for me. And once again, plugging Jason and Megan's show that comes on Sunday, where they go over some new books to our online store and give you a first look at some new collections, some really cool stuff. And that's now on YouTube. It's on Facebook and Instagram. So no excuses not to watch that as well. So until next time, see ya.